Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Saturn conjunct one's natal Venus. Now, when you have transits that involve Saturn, they could be about restrictions, limitations, structure, discipline, responsibility, even laborious work and efforts. Now, when you have transit Saturn conjoin your natal Venus, well, this could manifest in restriction, structure, responsibility, and in laborious work. It could be in relationships. Relationships might be more arduous than they ordinarily are. Maybe there's a lot of disparities or difference of opinion. Say if it's in Leo, it could be over who the dominant one is in the connection. Uh, if it's in Aries, it might be issues maybe over bravery or courage or initiative. Venus is also about values as well. So it's really at a time where you might have to take more responsibility for what you value at this time. Say if it's in Gemini, it could be values that may be superficial. Um, this is a time as well, and or you might have to dedicate yourself more to those values at this time. Um, Venus is also about money or possessions, resources. So it could also be manifest in taking more responsibility for those things that you might be working harder in order to get money. But it could also be about really more discipline energy in monetary matters as well. Remember, when you have a conjunction, conjunctions in astrology can be neutral. They could have good and adverse elements to it. Um, so there are positives with that, like I stated before, like having more discipline as far as your spending goes and buying things, being more responsible with your money and material items. Now, also, Venus is connected with love, and the thing about this too is you may find this could be a restricted period for love, or it might simply be where you're gaining, being more responsible to a loved one. It could be romantic partner, or maybe somebody that you have an important friendship with. Uh, and this is also Venus could be about expressing our feelings and our sentiments. So you might at this time, this could be where you might take more responsibility in doing so. These are feelings that if they're expressed, they could be one of a very serious nature since we're talking uh, about Saturn. Uh, but at the same time, you may be more inhibited and fearful in terms of expressing these feelings and sentiments. So, uh, another thing too is that Venus is also associated with art. So this could be something where you may, if you are artistically inclined, if this is something that you are proficient in, you might be working very laboriously on some art project or endeavor as well. Maybe could manifest in a career in art. You may embark on, or maybe it could be something even where maybe you might even take this up where it's like a career to you. It might be something that you decide to do very consistently. Saturn, of course, is very consistent in discipline energy. Say if it's in Pisces, it could be like abstract art or some kind of a fictional or fantasy type art. If it's Gemini, it might be like animated, cartoon artwork. And also, too, Venus is also about peace, tranquility, and beauty. And this is a time too where you might find yourself really at this time where your peace in your life may be somewhat inhibited, and it could be a time too where I mean, this could be about a lot of serious attention to this, and you're at a. This is a time as well where maybe you're more responsible to trying to appear more attractive, since this is connected with beauty, and also too. I mean, if you look at this anatomically, I mean, Venus anatomically is associated with the neck, the throat, the thyroid, kidneys, lower back. And it could be a time where it might be where you might feel, some kind of, it might be some restriction in this area where so maybe there's a chronic debilitation connected with this. And it might be being more responsible to this, especially if you have some kind of injury that's associated with one of these the body parts that I just described. And if you have this in the first or sixth house, especially because the first house is associated with the physical body, and sixth house can be health related issues in debilitation, physical debilitation. So anyway, and Venus is associated with self-worth, self-esteem, and how we feel about ourselves as well. So sometimes this could be very despondent energy, or depression might be impacting how we feel about ourselves at this time, and our, what we really, our self-worth and self-esteem. Yeah, it could also be a time where you might take more responsibility to feeling better about yourself. Say if you have this like in Sagittarius, it might be maybe doing some kind of sports. It might be something outdoors. Virgo could be a health regime. This is the time where you might feel that this is where you need to do something about this, if you are, especially if you are struggling with self-esteem issues at this time. And it's also Venus is connected with sensual and feminine sex, so this is a time as well where you might be a little bit more inhibited as far as that goes, in terms of expressing your certain sexual energy. And it might be where the libido may be uh, somewhat diminished. And I would say, especially if your natal Mars, say, is being say if there's indicators, from transits or something, where your natal Mars, where that energy might be inhibited. Like say if you have, transit, Neptune adverse your natal Mars, it could be where you might be more inclined, to fantasizing, sexually, as opposed to actually acting on it. Or you might be over too lethargic to really feel like performing, if you understand what I'm saying. So it might be, anyway. Saturn is also associated with the father, older people, which could include a grandparent. So these people at this time might figure more prominently and play more of an integral role in monetary situations. Say, if this is in Sagittarius, for example, this could be something with sports or religion or exploration. Um, it could be as far as something where you might maybe making money, or something with translation, or working with foreigners, immigration. It could also be a time, I mean, say if it's an Aquarius, it could be computer or electronic work, doing something with astronomy. Um, it could be astrology. Now, also too, Saturn is associated with chronic debilitation. So, and Venus is about our fun, our enjoyment. So, in some cases, this may manifest in a chronic debilitation, might impact and affect your enjoyment more so than usual. Say if you have this in Gemini, it could be, say if it's in Gemini in the fifth house in your natal chart, it could be some kind of nerve damage to the arms and the hands, which might maybe prevent or limit sports activity. Maybe even a Gemini sport, like I would say, maybe like badminton or table tennis or ping pong, because that requires, of course, quick reactions. Uh, Another thing too, this could be a time, again, as I was stating earlier, that this could be where you might be more fearful and apprehensive regarding expressing your sentiments and feelings. Say if it's in Sagittarius, it could be very jovial, jocular, and happy ones that might actually where you might even be more reluctant to actually express more so than usual. But on the positive end, that Saturn, it could be is about discipline, and it could be where you might be able to hold back when you need to, instead of maybe impulsively express some kind of feelings when maybe it's not the right time or it's too quick to do so. Hold on a moment, people. Anyway, sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, also with this transit, you might find yourself where you might connect with an older person, because of course Saturn can be associated with older person, something that might be the relationship that has more longevity than most. It can be, and Venus of course is connected with relationships. It might be a romantic connection, or in some cases it could be just a significant or important friendship. It could also be maybe some cases, isolated cases, this might be Saturn related physical debilitations and issues may hit your pocketbook, which of course is associated with Venus in money. There could be, let's say, Saturn is associated, with the teeth, the skin, the bones, joints, hamstrings, the knees. So it could be something like Saturn related. Some cases it might be, there might be restrictions, or there should be greater propensity for difficulties, because Saturn could be connected with what might be difficult. Difficulties and restrictions. It could be something with the throat, the neck area, the lower back, the thyroid, kidneys. And also, too, that Saturn related things in general might be something that you may simply value more. It could be longevity, consistency, structure, discipline, laborious work, hard labor, your career, a business. It could be something, might even be something with politics or the government, the father, older people, which could include a grandparent. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.